essential establishment operational. To show us kindness and selflessness. To give us strength, you risk your own lives to serve the greater good in keeping the Filipino spirit of Marian. I also thank the men and women of the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases and the National Task Force against COVID-19 for all the countless hours spent to keep the pandemic in check and for all the effort it made to ensure the safety of our people. Let me also recognize the efforts of the local government units that step up and initiated their own response measures to contain COVID-19 and its impact to their constituents impact to its constituents. The shadow says it's a period. I know exactly the difficulties you are undergoing. I pray that the officials of each LGU in our country, from the barangay to the autonomous regions, would set aside partisan politics and selfish interest to do what is right and good for us. Likewise, I likewise issue Executive Order number 104, which imposed ceilings on retail prices of at least 100 prohibited drugs and medicines, and directed a continuous review of the retail prices of others. This proved to be providential now that we are facing a pandemic. To everyone who helped us in this time of great need, maraming salamat po. Let me say that the strength of a nation rests in the hands of the people acting as one story. In the pursuit of common goals and objectives, when the pandemic struck, I decided to prioritize life over other considerations according to experts. The intervention that the government has put in place prevented as much as 1.3 to 3.5 million infections. To me, even if the numbers were much lower, it would still be and would have been worth the sacrifice we made. Buhay muna bago lahat. We initially encountered difficulties ramping up our testing capacity. We now have 93 accredited testing laboratories nationwide, and we are aiming to conduct 1.4 million tests by end of July and ensure a quick turnaround time 48 to 72 hours. Under the social amelioration program, we allotted 2.5 billion to 3.5 million for poor and low-income households who are affected during this pandemic. We thrive on a no work, no pay arrangement. Admittedly, our implementation of the social amelioration program was perfect, and some opportunities turned crisis into opportunity. We will catch up with you sooner than you think. We came up with the COVID-19 Adjustment Measures Program, extended financial assistance to over 650,000 affected individuals in the formal sector, 110 OFWs abroad, and almost 83,000 repatriated OFWs were also provided temporary wage employment to displace marginal workers through the TUPAD project. Our indigent senior citizens were also provided with a stipend for the rest of the semester of the year current year. The health emergency stretched government resources is limited. In response to the Office of the President worked closely with Congress for the quick passage of the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act. May I again reiterate my thanks to you, the men and women of Congress, for the effort you invested in passing that law. I hope that we can get some of the same of clarity, purpose, and the fastness to support the passage of the Bayanihan Recovery to Act as One, which is supplement fund for recovery and response against the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. We must facilitate the country's economic recovery. I call on Congress to fast-track the passage of the proposed measures, such as the corporate recovery and tax incentives enterprises to create Act. This immediately cuts the corporate income levy from the current 30 to 25% and give government flexibility to grant a combination of fiscal and non-fiscal incentives, among others. The financial institution strategic transfer or first step will set up mechanisms allowing banks and other financial institutions to dispose of and transfer non-performing assets and loans to asset management companies similar to the special purpose vehicles. Our economic managers have seen infrastructure investment as an effective tool to help spur high growth, attract investments, create jobs, and achieve financial inclusion for all Filipinos. The DBP has resumed the construction of the North Luzon Expressway Harbor Link, the NLEC-SLEC connector, the Cavite-Laguna Expressway, the Metro Manila Skyway Stage 3, the R1 Bridge Project, the Tarlac-Pangasinan La Union Expressway Project, and the Subic Freeport Expressway Project, to name a few. To realize the maximum benefit from the country's investment, the infrastructure projects under the Build program, which are labor and capital intensive, are not mere springboard to the country's swift recovery from pandemic. They are economic benefits to be distributed to all corners of the country and for sustainable stability in the urban centers, particularly Manila. The FISPA launched online mode of livelihood and skills training. There are 71 free online training to help upskill trainers with the right opportunities. I asked TESDA to come up with special training programs to retool our OFW so they can find employment opportunities here and at home. I am also calling on Diterte for scholarship programs for the qualified dependents of our OFW. I direct the Department of Agriculture and DTI to come up with the agribusiness and entrepreneurship projects to help displaced OFWs rebuild their livelihood. Further, I ask the Land Bank and other government financial institutions to continue providing low interest loans to our OFW. Sa mga kababayan ko na naghihirap sa ibang bansa, nandito na ang inyong gobyerno para matulungan kayo ng mga pamilya, lalo na sa panahon ito. The government will intensify its effort to help businesses, especially micro, small, and medium enterprises or MSMEs, by providing responsive government assistance and services capitalization and business operation support as we adapt to the next normal. Nanawagan ako sa ating mga lessons. Nanawagan po ako sa ating mga lessons. Malasakit at banayanihan po ang sana ang pairahin natin ngayon. This is at the time to drive our cases. During normal times, they were the primary source of income stream. Now, it's time to be fair and compassionate. Come with an amenable arrangement with your tenants. Huwag po natin silang pagkabuyan, tanggalin ang tubig, kuryente at bubong. Commercial establishments are requested to give grace periods to allow deferment of payments, especially for MSMEs that were forced to close down during the quarantine period. Let us help them recover. We prime the recovery and rehabilitation of the MSMEs. The DTI to the Small Business Corporation set up the Philippine 1 billion COVID assistance to the Start Enterprises or CARE program to provide zero interest loans for MSMEs affected by the pandemic as of July 10, 2020. Over 2,600 loans applications worth more than 182.5 million have been approved. We are optimistic that this initiative will help our MSMEs stabilize and recover from their losses. I also join the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and the banks operating in the country to provide regulatory relief for our MSMEs and allow loan payment extension without incurring penalties. We need your help to prevent the collapse of companies saddled with accumulated amortization and payables caused by closure of their businesses at the height of the strict quarantine period. As we embark on this effort towards inclusive recovery, we should acknowledge that all forms of government support will go to naught if the new MSMEs do not thrive because of lack of consumer support. Ito ang panahon para suportahan natin ang ating mga kababayan na nagnegosyo at gumawa ng mga produktong sariling atin. In the same manner, in tourism and recreation industries, which are among the hardest hit by the pandemic, count on our full support while we slowly try to put the fund back in your local travels. The national government agencies and LGUs must harmonize their policies to boost tourism, ensuring everyone's well-being. We join our people to boost the economy by traveling locally. Once the necessary systems are in place. The DOST offers its enterprise technology upgrading program to enable businesses to access training that will help them transition to online and contactless operations. Now more than ever, we need to protect our consumers. I direct the Department of Trade and Industry to ensure the empowerment of Filipinos on consumer rights and to coordinate strategies between public and private organizations in building a fair, safe, resilient, and sustainable economy. There are welcome developments for commerce and industry, but major economic activities take place in borderless environment with the meager regulatory controls. They expose consumers to various risks related to security, data, privacy, and misrepresentation. We must patrol the country's cyberspace and enforce online consumer and data protection and privacy laws. We must run after online scammers and those undermining the people's trust on the online transactions. We must continue to protect Filipinos in the normal and remind the world that we are responsible stewards of data. I am committed to protect both physical and digital lives of our law-abiding countrymen. The national government shall lead the way in our transition to online systems. I reiterate my call for all government instrumentalities to implement systems that shall make physical queuing a thing of the past. Panahon na para mawala na ang pila para mapagsilbihan ang gobyerno ng walang perapan para sa tao. The DILG, CBM, and the ARCA, along with all agencies and instrumentalities of government, are hereby directed to make full possible services available online. We need to adjust and adapt the paperless type of business and work performance. We need e-governance are people with the services they need and the comfort of their homes and the workplaces. It will enable us bureaucracy to better transition into the new normal and cut red and minimize red tape. until the COVID-19 vaccine is available, I will not allow the traditional face-to-face teaching or learning unless the risk of exposure to the sickness are eliminated. I cannot and will not put to rest the health and lives of our students and teachers. So yung about 2 weeks ago, I seem to have said that I would allow the face-to-face classes to resume. We were talking actually of January, because my thinking is that by September we would have the vaccine. How to get it from the producers or from other governments is really something that we have to deal with, because everybody, it's a global need, and everyone would go for it. But let me just mention it in passing that 4 days ago I made a plea to President Xi Jinping that if they have the vaccine, can they allow us to be one of the first, or if it's needed, if you have to buy it, that we will be granted credit so that we can normalize as fast as possible. Life that is lost is lost forever. Courses that are not substantial can be supplemented. Education that is delayed can be recovered. We must implement online learning, modular learning, and TV and radio-based broadcasts, which students coming from different backgrounds can avail. They provide the printed modules for those who cannot afford online learning. In support of the learning continuity program through blended learning, we plan to increase the number of schools with ICT equipment in the coming months. Diterte and the DITC are building up the public education network or trend that will connect all public schools and DepEd offices nationwide. We will prioritize the connection of all last mile schools and those with no electricity supply can have it via satellite and energized via solar panels. By 2022, before I step down, the pen shall be realized. I'm referring to the program. I will do it. TV frequencies reverted back to government for whatever cause or reason shall not be used exclusively to the exclusion of other persons or other dummies to cope up with the demand of the next mob. This will be used to provide uninterrupted quality education to our children and a shift to e-learning. I am directing Secretary Guevara, Secretary De La Peña, and Secretary Onatan, in collaboration with Secretary Briones and Secretary Abisado, together with Secretary Dominguez, to come up with an integrated program and implementation mechanism to ensure that the TV frequencies are fully utilized by government. the facilities of the PTV4 for the utmost benefit of the Philippine people. Let me just allow me to segue a little bit. For the remaining 2 years of my term, all that is good that belongs to government, whether it be the airwaves, whether it be the lines, or whatever that is good for the people, will belong to the government, and it should be government who should be given the first option to utilize it. Ang sobra kanila. I call on our communication companies to improve their services lest we be forced to take drastic steps to address the less than bill service that the public is getting from you. Alam mo, sisingit na lang ako dito. I am sometimes your government pictured to be weak and incompetent because we cannot really force our mandate. Alam mo ikaw nagbibigay ng mga public services. You better improve. Huwag naman ninyo kaming pahintayin 10 taon bago kami makakamit ng mga services that the other countries enjoy. It is just a question of added capitalization or the infusion of money. Go and look for it. Maghanap kayo. You are not ready to improve. I might just as well close all of you and revert back to the line telephone. At kukunin ko yan, i-expropriate ko sa gobyerno. Alam mo itong I'll be strict, smart. Pati itong globe, ilang taon na ito. At ang sagot palagi sa akin, the party cannot be rich. Saan ko na pumunta yung yawa na yun? Kung gano'n lang naman ibigay ninyo sa amin, we are a republic, a sovereign country. Bear that in mind because the patience of the Filipino people is reaching its limit. As I will be the one to articulate the anger of the Filipino people. And you might not want what I intend to do with you. Kindly improve the services before December. I want to call Jesus Christ to Bethlehem. Better have that line cleared. Alam, natutod ang ating po. Nanoon ako sa inyo. I have been a citizen of this country and parang nilalaro na ninyong kayong may pera. Puta. May pera kayo? Siguro. Wala kayong pera, puta. Umalis kayo dito. You give us half bills, half to construction, lousy service. Tapos ang tao nagbabayad. Now, if you cannot really improve on it, because I will work by December. I have 2 years. The next 2 years will be spent improving the telecommunications in this country. Without you, I will find a way. I will talk to Congress and find a way how to do it. Last year I said that distributing economic business activities is imperative to our country's sustained and equitable growth. Today I reiterate that statement. The Administrative Order number 18 directing concerned agencies to strengthen the special economic zones in areas outside Metro Manila. I also issued Executive Order number 4 to institutionalize the Balik Provincial Bagong Pag-asa Group. This consolidates and repurposes existing economic and social welfare programs, activities and projects towards the countryside. It is an international agency council headed by Executive Secretary Salvador Medallia. It should create a framework for the effective implementation of this project. Kung hindi niya ako naiintindihan, nabasa ko, mas lalo ako. In 2021, we aim to increase access to healthcare services by continuously hiring and deploying more than 20,000 health professionals. This will augment health workforce in LGUs, particularly in isolated and disadvantaged areas. We will implement projects to establish and improve barangay health stations, rural health units, and other health care facilities. And we will need to address internal security. We are pursuing the whole of the nation approach to bring peace and order, development in the countryside. We need to provide intervention and implement the barangay development program. This will provide cleared and threatened communities. This refers to a program where the armed forces would play a vital role in the one nation approach. This is what simply what is meant by it. And that every agency of the government, including the armed forces of the Philippines, should participate. And I am aware of the skirmishes and the assassination of our soldiers. And I said, correct this so that we can proceed with the barangay implementation as fast as possible. We have made significant strides in the past 4 years, but we need the support of local government leaders. We need your help to implement the barangay development program. Certain sectors expressed concern when I declared martial law in Mindanao and its extension 3 times. But 2019 ended without my office requesting any further extension. Martial law in Mindanao ended without abuses by the civilian sector, by the police, by the military. It ended because this time I know that they know how to love the country. I thank Congress for the support to this administration programs. Congress has been very productive, but much more remains to be done. You know, actually, my speech, if you follow this carefully, it's all a plea for Congress to do this, to do that, to make a law, or craft a whatever. And this is why I strongly urge Congress to pass a law establishing a Department of Overseas Filipinos, solely addressing the concerns of Filipinos abroad and their families. I reiterate this fifth passage before this. Kawawa kasi itong ating mga overseas. If it's only an office there in the Labor Department, they are over war or for whatever reason, their needs, their pleas are not really attended to with dispatch and with care. OFW I reiterate the swift passage of a law reviving the death penalty by lethal injection for crimes specified under the Comprehensive Dangerous Act of 2002. I did not hear so much clapping, so I presume that they are not interested. Wala ko. Someday I'll tell you the story what happened to the Philippines. Hindi ngayon. But when I'm sabihin ko sa inyo ito, bakit ako ganito yung droga ng Philippines? Why the drug syndicates continue to operate just like the countries of Colombia, Mexico, and it is being played inside the national network. Para tayong talagang binabago tayo. Sabihin mo siya. But this is not a time for storytelling. Sona kasi ito. So, dito na. This law will not only help us with their criminality, but also save our children from the dangers posed by the illegal and dangerous. May I be allowed with the indulgence of the body? Ito ang bakit talaga ako galit sa room. Let us make this a semi-formal speech. Alam mo kasi, 5 pamilya members o 6 o 7. Pagka bumagsak to drug, the family crumble. There's no more home. Druga, and if he's receiving his salary, sa trabaho sa pantalang, 300 a day. Tapos Cebu is sold at 2. He has about 100 to bring home. Kaya pagka gano'n, nag-aaway-aaway na ang mga bata, pag-aral, ligaw na, mga babae into early prostitution, kung ano-ano na. Hindi lang alam itong this is happening all over the country every day. And what is really very tragic is this. When the family starts to crumble, this common family home, and invariably the wife would look for another husband would look for a job, usually easily doon sa abroad. At yung asawa aalis, yung lalaki nasa droga, yung mga anak iniiwan sa kapitbahay, sa kapatid. And the ferocity of the loss of the Filipino family home has been destroyed. Kaya kung anong nangyari nito, the wife works in the Middle East. I am not zeroing on any particular country, mind you. But alam na natin, there are tribes in the Middle East which would allow rape as part of the territory of being a house help. Kasama yan. Kasama talaga yan. So yan ang mahirap dyan. You have a wife there being crucified, being used, magpadala ng pera, tapos ang mga anak, asa nasasabi mo na rin. Kasi these are the guys that the Cebu people would really, stick by them until it crumbles, the resistance. And then you have plenty of this all over the country. Nila, yung sinasabi nila ng misery sa human rights, plus 10 yan. Not to count the victims of crimes perpetrated by people addicted to. That is the reason why I'm so vicious in life. Galit talaga. Nilalaroan tayo. Well, I don't know. Any other president might, pero ako ayaw. Ayaw kong lalaroan ng Philippines. Do not do it in my country because I will kill you. That is a commitment. Owning safe, decent, and affordable housing is every Filipino's dream. But the housing market remains inaccessible to most of our countrymen. I renew my call for Congress to pass the National Housing Development Bill and the Rental Housing Subsidy Bill. These will enable all Filipinos, regardless of social status, to live in decent homes where their families can live meaningful lives. I also call on Congress to amend Republic Act number 10912 for the Continuing Professional Development Act of 2016. In this time of great pandemic and forthcoming reconstruction requiring professionals to undergo seminars is burdensome and not realistic. This must end. Ito pang isa. There are may mga profession. Singit ko na lang lahat. So that this is to inform them. May mga profession na they would require, I think it's the nicest, they would require them to come to Manila to retrain for another round of expenses. Itong mga seminar na ito, dapat na ito. I don't know in other provinces, but during my time sa barangay expeditions ng mga opisyal. Hininto ko rin yun. It reminds me, I will act on this also later. We hail our health professionals as heroes. Now is the time to pass the Advanced Nursing Nursing Education Act and the law instituting the medical reserve corps. COVID-19 will not only be the last pandemic. We need to create National Disease Prevention Management Authority to better respond to future outbreaks. We count on Congress to full support. You can just let it remain for a while in the Department of Health kung wala pang pera, but you have to expand the services. It would also entail a little bit of money, but not really as much as expensive when you set up a department. In the long term, we are looking into the creation of the National Disease Prevention and Management Authority to better prepare for the pandemic, protect lives, development to proceed even in the worst of times. We are counting on the full support of Congress for this critical, important endeavor. I don't know, but I leave it to Congress to really. It's another department. It could be a multi-layer redundant thing between the health and the proposed department. I call on Congress to prioritize the passage of a law for the unified system of separation, retirement, and pension, and of the military and uniformed personnel, without, however, diminishing the benefits that our uniformed personnel are entitled to under the existing laws. There is a need to adjust the pension system, which will be applicable only to the newly hired uniformed personnel, so as not to cause a ballooning effect against the budget of the military in the years to come, and yet maintain the pension benefits those already in service under the present law. This issue needs a solution now. Umpisa natin ngayon para hindi na maging problema sa sunod ng mga tao. I want to, one of the, this is not politicking, I am not running, I cannot run in it. Yung ginobli ko yung sweldo ng police pati army, it was really para for them also to have decent life and that they're able to get the things which ordinarily cannot be reached by any government employee. Ang akin doon is yung corruption. That maybe it might be a vain attempt, but maybe dagdagan ng sweldo para it could be a hedge against corruption. We must also modernize the Bureau of Fire Protection and the Bureau of Immigration with urgency. Alam mo, sa Davao, and if you go there, I can show you. One visible trucks, fire trucks that we have in the city of Davao. Of course, ang city meron ng sarili, aside from the Bureau of Fire, which is really national. Meron yung Bureau of Fire, would you believe it, serviceable still ang pangalan ng ang katawan, ang talagang matatag ang katawan. Kaya ang makina isuso. Pero okay pa rin. It can put that up. Totoo. This is how this Bureau of Fire medyo na overlook natin ng matagal. I emphasize the creation of the Department of Disaster Resilience and People's Safety, which cannot be delegated to any council or commission. Equally important is the establishment of evacuation center in every city, province, municipality throughout the country. We must act before another major disaster shapes into action. Problem, disaster, and even a fire cannot be this cannot be made a study for projection when the earthquake would suddenly come and make a big crack there. Hindi natin alam talaga. Ang ibig kong sabihin, this will require more than just one brainwork kung paano talaga itong how to prevent or avoid disaster. Could be, by the way, just before starting, I was tempted to say it. Pero baka magtindigan kayo. It will be alright for me if Bongo will just stay. Wala akong problema. Sabi ko na this piece of speech of mine would be one of the longest sonas that I will deliver. Nakita ko yung page pagbigay sa akin. Yung ibang import akin. Pati yung iba, lahat. Ang nangyari po, binalik ko sa kanila. Mas makapal na. Di nandiyan na ngayon. Ito na ngayon. The responsible extraction and equitable distribution of natural resources remain among my non-negotiables. I reiterate the need for the passage of the National Land Use Act, which has been pending for decades. Pakisilip lang niya. For the rest of my term, I hope to see concerted efforts in protecting the environment. The rehabilitation of Boracay Island showcased our resolve to safeguard the environment. Boracay is doing well because of its scenery. If it's only a coconut and a black sand, white sand and water, wala yan. Pero you add the visitors there, then it becomes a very tempting destination. We have seen remarkable emergence of the island back to its former glory. I want this sustained. I ask Congress to enact a law creating the Boracay Island Authority, or BIDA. You need it. I cannot stress enough the importance of a reporter. The growth of our economy depends on the robust agricultural sector. We must utilize the coconut levy for the welfare of our coconut farmers and the development of our coconut industry. I urge everybody, both of the executive departments dito, that ito yung pera na nakuha doon sa sequester. And itong perang malaking ito, gagamitin ito for the welfare of the farmers. The problem is, we can no longer trace who are the farmers of yesterday. Marcos is a distant star. We do not know. Ako alam ko because we had a little piece also that was covered by the land. Hindi na natin malaman kung sino ang may-ari. So I think Congress should look again and try to sort out how best the money can be utilized. I will not make any suggestion, but I leave it to Congress to decide what to do with it. So once again, urge both houses of Congress to pass a version of the bill establishing the Coconut Farmers Trust Fund. Tulungan natin ang ating mga magsasaka baka hindi mawawala yung pera, bilyon yan. Diyos ko po. Well, anyway, we have learned so many lessons along the way. I am also requesting Congress to pass the Rural, Agricultural and Fisheries Development Financing System. We aim to provide adequate, accessible, and formidable food, affordable food for every Filipino through the Plant program. After the bill, I think this is easier to achieve. A few good men, few good regional directors, and dedicated workers down below could make this thing a success. Mas madali ito kaysa bill. Ito lang. It is more of how you try to convince the farmers to operate government for their benefit. This 66 billion agricultural stimulus package will help the agricultural and fisheries sector recover. I hope so. We need to build trust and confidence in online transactions, stronger protection of online consumers, and enabling measures for online business enabled through the enactment of an enter. I thus direct the Department of Trade and Industry and other relevant agencies to work closely with Congress, ensuring that the provisions of the proposed bill are responsive to the needs of the consumers while promoting the growth of e-commerce in the country. If you are tired of clapping, you just say so I can make a shortcut. Pabilisan na yun. On the path of better governance, we travel with other partners, both old and new, of health, bolstering the antiquated public health system for bringing home our laid-off Filipinos overseas, for filling in supply gaps for crucial medical supplies and equipment and staple food for these and many more. The Philippines and all friendly nations will never forget your kindness and your timely support. And beyond, the Philippines We will continue to work with partners to address global peril and ramp up cooperation secure for our people's greater peace, progress, and prosperity. The Filipino nation claims its rightful place in a community of sovereign states. Thus, we will continue to pursue an independent foreign policy. Let me be very clear about it. May I cut my prepared speech? Alam mo, I read little over 3 weeks or last month na the Americans intends to go out to Subi. Just put on record my thoughts. I have nothing against America. I have nothing against China. But if you put business here, you double the spectacle of the most destructive, just like Manila during the Second World War, during the retaking of this city. One of the most devastated cities in the world. Kaya maglagay-lagay ka ng base at this time. This will ensure if war breaks out, because there would be atomic arsenals brought in. This will ensure the destruction of the Philippines. We work without fail to protect our rights in the South China Sea, neither beholden nor if pawn to anyone. We broaden the boundaries of Philippine diplomacy. We build productive ties with everyone willing to engage us on the basis of equality and mutual respect. And we redefine our relationships with our most important partners, placing the country in a far better position to advance our interests in an evolving regional order and emerging global problems. Now, plenty of critics on both sides claim about nothing has been done to retake forcefully or physically the South China Sea. Alam mo, unless we are prepared to go to war, I would suggest that we better explore and treat this, I said, with the diplomatic endeavor. China is claiming it. We are claiming it. China has the arms. We do not have it. So, it's simple as that. They are in possession of the property. You remember property, you're a lawyer, property rights. They are, it has nothing to do with the Philippine laws of property. But it's akin to, they are in possession. So what can we do? We have to go to war. And I cannot afford it. Maybe some other president can, but I cannot. Inutil ako dyan. And I'm willing to admit it. Talaga, inutil ako dyan. Mamagawa. I cannot. The moment I send my Marines there at the coastal shores of Palawan, tinamaan ng cruise missile at hindi pa nga set sail and sabog na. Let me say again that the victory in global battle against COVID-19 will take longer than we expect. Everyone's cooperation is needed. I know that you have the Filipino people who sacrifice a lot. We have no other choice but to work together and to do even more. I must admit that our actions have been far from perfect. Totoo yan, I admit it. And there could be improvements here and there. But all of us in government, including myself, assure you that we will not stop until we get things right and better for you. I know that many of you are worried not only about health and safety, but also about our ability to move around and ride public transportation. The depletion of your savings due to the rising cost of goods and the loss of your incomes due to uncertainties in your jobs and livelihood, I assure you that your government will address fairly these problems and challenges to overcome and proceed to a new normal. Marami ho talagang mawawalaan ng those for middle income. They buy a car on installment basis. You cannot keep up with the amortization. You lose it. You lose the car. And you are forced to ride on public utilities. Concomitantly, didiretso rin itong mga criminal na rarami at crimes will increase. But let me assure you, for as long as I am president, there can never be a runaway crime in any of our cities. Hindi ako kaya. I can assure you, we remain peaceful. Relatively peaceful. Hindi naman very peaceful. Pero kung sabihin mo na kagaya ng hold up dito, hold up, alam naman nila kung anong mangyari. You know what will happen to you. I am addressing myself to the criminals. You commit hold-ups, you commit rape, you commit all sorts of things, and you harm the public. Then, kaaway mo na ako. Pag bumalik kayo sa dati, kagaya noon, patong-patong na naman ang patay dito. Sigurado, hahanapin mo kayo. Do not ever go back to your old ways. Maghanap na lang kayo ng anong trabaho niya. Magtiis kayo. To open up the economy to pre-COVID-19 levels at this time is not an option because whatever good it can produce will only be gobbled up or be outweighed by the bad it will generate sometimes. Haste makes waste. Of business is proof of that. I've talked to you today. You know, in other places, they open up too early, too soon. America is one. China, well, fortunately it was arrested in time. China and the rest, for those who open up, and those who do not follow the protocols of the ring. And they have at least 140 deaths, and America kukulang sila lahat. No nation on earth was really prepared for COVID. No amount of preparation, because that kind of microbes visits about once every 100 years. Wala man yun. Mga tatay natin, what they suffered was Second World War. But tayo, we are not ready, and therefore we will not gamble with the lives and health of the people. Certainly no one would want to end up in the negative side of the equation. Not me, not us. All I ask is that you continue to put your faith in your government and work with us in achieving what is best for the country and our people. Together, let us do the most that we can to ensure that is health, safety, and well-being of every Filipino, especially those severely affected, are taken care of. Together, we shall fight this pandemic with the same fervor as our campaign against illegal drugs, criminality, insurgency, and corruption in high places, and entrenched parochial interests. As a government worker, I am addressing each and every Filipino that the government cannot do this without your help. More than ever, we need to reinvigorate the deep-seated Filipino spirit of pagsama and malasakit within each and every one. We are being tested as a people and as a nation. Wars times loom ahead. But I do hope that this spirit of solidarity, a unity, will serve as a drumbeat to which we shall march in unison in our quest for the light at the end of the tunnel. I appeal to each and every Filipino, let us take care of one another. Ito ang panahon para magtulungan, hindi panahon para mamang my faith in the Philippines, the most heavily on our shoulders, may bend our back, but they shall not bend or break our spirit. From the rubble of adversity, a more resilient and stronger nation, built on bayanihan and pagkakaisa, shall rise. Together we shall honor. Before I pardon the time, this was really the allotted time for my speech. I would just like to give a statement. Yun na sa gobyerno, hindi tayo nakaka-indicate. You know, Drilon expanded, he was dependent. I would like to ask Drilon, were you a part of ACRA when this contract was being? And why are you communicating? Bakit kasi ikaw lang ang galit? Nasabi mo na dynasty. You are a hypocrite. You know that you cannot pass an anti-dynasty law. Ikaw nandyan sa Congress, ikaw ang una dito. But you know, to take it against me for protecting my country is something which I really resent. Alam mo, you describe using the dictionary is synonym ng mga oligarchy. Then you proceeded to characterize everyone, every name, and then said that oligarchy is not bad at all. Because not all oligarchies are true. But ito, to my countrymen, the oligarchy that exists in this country is the oligarchy that existed during the Spanish time. And the Spanish lands and the prior lands and all the benefits that were passed on to the insulares who did not go back to Spain or to the Spaniards and into their. But that was long ago. It has been forgotten. This is the oligarchy that controls the Philippines by what? By taking control of the water and the electricity and power. Yan ang oligarchy mo, Brilon. Wala nang oligarchy dito except that they have control. Look, how can you now craft a new contract? Because I would insist that you pay the billions and billions that you collected. For example, water treatment. Nandyan sa kontrata. It's in the billing. They've been collected. Since 1997. Ilang bilyon na wala ni isa. Not even a faucet was built for a water treatment facility. Yan ang mahirap sa you do not protect the oligarchs. You are the one. Ikaw lang mag-isa. And I suspect that you were also the one to help when you were there in the Accra. We do not even know ang mga abogado sa public documents. Hindi nga alam. Hindi natin alam kung nag-graduate o hindi. Wala. Would you take Ayala or get the services of those? Ayala at Accra. Accra dito. Ikaw galing ka doon. Most of you, more successful lawyer sa corporation. You and the big corporate. Yan ang mga. Pangga tayo dito. Hinawakan ninyo. Hindi ka pwede ka. Tapi kita mo, noong nag-increase, walang tubig, pinuputol yung tubig. Ang tao, bumigay ka din. Hindi tayo maligo. Hindi uminom. Electricity, ayaw mag-increase. O ayan, wala na. Wala rin brown out lahat. I'm sorry, but I have to say this to you. I do not like it. It's the time for it. But since it is the time for the Sona, for people to know and people to really get the fact. And the right of the people to be heard. Tayo na naman ang tao mo sa. Nawakan ninyo yung tubig pati electricity. Yun ang oligarchy. Kaya ako sinabi ko noong kumpanya. Corruption is not here. Yung mga kusnos bayaran. It's there upstairs. And I was really providential. Dumating yung panahon na hindi ko hiningi. Then I saw the contract. Kung nakita ko yung contract, tsaka yung linya na yung choice, yung linya na it belongs to government. The best of the transmission lines, whatever, government gets it first. before anybody.
Wala.
Thank you.
Makali.
Ay,
Oo,
okay.
makali lang.
Okay.
Okay, yan po at may natungayan ang mensahe ng Pangulong Rodrigo Diterte sa kanyang Sona, mensahe sa taong
Tama
bayan.
naman ang sinabi ng Pangulo, no? Na ang bill na gagawa para pagbawalan ang political dynasty, meron talaga yan sa ating saligang batas. Prohibition against political dynasty. Batas.
Kailangan ng
Malinaw yan.
enabling law.
As mandated by law. Bukod na doon, si Senador Drilon, na pinasaringan ang pamilya Diterte, sinabi ng Pangulo, pwede mismo gumawa dyan sa Kongreso. Pero tanong dyan, suntok sa buwan, kaya nilang gawin.
Ayun, ang magandang tanong. Pero also, marami rin po nabanggit ang Pangulo na sinaroroonan is really troubled times,
Yes.
And of course, pinasalamatan po niya yung mga muli, yung mga nag-aalay ng kanilang buhay, yung mga nasa frontline, at nakikiramay din siya kasama ng buong Filipino people sa mga namatayan na mga sa buhay dahil sa kanilang paglilingkod sa bayan. At of course, meron din siya mensahe sa mga nananamantala, no? Sa ganitong panahon, yung mga profiteers, yung mga nandudoko, yung mga karap, mga scammers, yes, ako. Binanggit po ng Pangulo yung pong mga naitulong ng pamahalaan sa Pantawid Pamilya Program. 4.3 million families po ang nakinabang. At of course, marami din siyang beneficio yung pagkatapos po ng barangay at ng SK election. Dahil yung pondo po ngayon ay nagagamit para sa ibang mga bagay. Ito mahalaga ngayon may pandemya.
So, malinaw doon ang sinabi ng Presidente, ang kanyang mga naging accomplishments, bilang tagapagpatupad, because the power of the sword belongs to the Executive Department, the power of the purse belongs to the Congress. Kaya tingin naman siya ng pakiusap, no, sa ating mga kongresista na gawin yung mga batas para sa ganoon ay maisang ang sobrang epekto ng pandemic, and at the same time ang kanyang mga sinusulong laban sa kriminalidad at sa droga. Jake, kanina sinabi ng Pangulo na baka ibabalik na niya ang pitay, no? Ito pong death penalty by lethal injection because of kanya inisaya pa seryoso. No? Seryoso talaga ating pamalaan, ang ating pong Pangulo Diterte upang labanan ang illegal droga. Kapag nakapasok na talaga illegal droga sa bawat pamilyang Pilipino,
At malaki ang talagang pagkawasak nito sa ating mga pamilya.
Pinaglalaroan na talaga tayo dahil dati na, buti na lang naglabuan yan dyan sa New Bilibid Prison. Inurutong yung droga dyan sa loob.
Yun ang
Kaya
pinaka.
unti-unti na sila napipila.
May mga panawagan din po, bago sa Department of Overseas Filipinos. Dahil nga po talaga hindi pwede isang maliit na unit na lamang, opisina na lamang po ang tatagilid sa kanila, kundi mahalaga na po ng isang departamento para mas matutukan po ang kanilang kalagayan. Lalo na po yung mga nagkakaproblema, ngayon meron po mga pandemya. Hindi pa po kasi ito maaaring huling pandemya na ating kakaharapin, di ba? Kaya,
may mga susunod pang mga pandemya na dapat natin pagdaan.
so binanggit din po ng Pangulo na kailangan palakasin pa natin yung ating pagtugon sa health service para sa mga nurse, para sa mga health workers na hanggang sa barangay level dapat natin pa ilakasin at paigtingin.
At hanggang Disyembre, hanggat hindi na-improve ang serbisyo ng mga telco, abang-abangan natin ang gagawin ang tulog dito.
Yes, okay.
Dahil sa tawag dito, hindi magandang servisyo na ibinibigay ng mga telecom company sa ating mga kababayan.
At muli, inulit po ng Pangulo, sinabi nila, hindi talaga niya mapapayagan ng face-to-face teaching or learning.
Yes.
Hanggang sa hindi pa po nagdevelop ang vaccine dahil talagang malaking risk po ito para sa ating mga kabataan at sa mga guro.
That's why itong online learning ay ginagawa na po ng pamahalaan para gamitin ang TV frequencies katulad ng PTV4. Para sa ganun ay magamit ang tinatawag na quality education. This is a blended learning
sa pakikipag-ugnayan ng ating pamahalaan sa mga eskwelahan, syempre, that should Department of Education to come up with this integration ito tayo sa online learning.
Kaya niapela rin po siya sa BSP at sa banking institutions na sana po mas maging lenient, magbigay ng extension sa mga loans, sa mga kababayan natin na nahihirapan po ngayon.
Saka sa mga lessons, para tayo papakupa sa ating mga MSMEs, maging fair naman at kaya hindi makasingil, pinuputulan ng kuryente, pinuputulan ng tubig, pinangalis, kung naman. Dahil nakasentro ngayon ang programa with DTI, Secretary Lopez, ang kanina, dito po sa mga malilit na negosyante. Importante po yan. Hanggang wala pong trabaho nakikita, ako naniniwala ko dito. Walang mayaman sa pang-empleo. Yayaman ka sa pag-nenegosyo. Kahit naman
natin, and 99% kasi ng mga negosyo talaga ay micro, small, and medium enterprises na talagang lubhang na-apektuhan po ng crisis na ito, ng pandemya. Okay? At yan, marami po po, ano na,
oligarchy, tinutubog dito is about water and power sa public utility. Anyway, wala tayong oras.
Yes, maraming salamat po sa inyong pagtangkilik at mula po rito muli sa Batasang Pambansa, kami po ang inyong mga naging tagapagkatid ng mga ulan. Angel Claudio para sa bayan.
Opo, si Aldo Nagbiyo para sa bayan. Balikan natin, sina Yusek Rocky at Alexander sa studio.
Yes, maraming salamat Aljo at Angelique. Gusto kong tanungin si Dennis. Ano po ang sa palagay ninyo o opinion ninyo yung isa sa mga pinakamahalagang tinutol ni Pangulong Diterte sa kanyang ikalimang State of the Nation?
Actually, marami pong mga mahalagang sinabi ang ating Pangulo sa kanyang forma ngayon. Pero nariyan po ang tingin ko, ang pinakamahalaga na sinabi ng ating Pangulo ay ang siguro ng kanyang pamahalaan tungkol sa problema kinakaharap natin. So, insight niya kung anong ating tulong ang pwedeng ibigay ng ating pamahalaan. Nariyan po ang hindi niya nakalimutan yung mga sektor na nakita niya na tinamaan ng malugha ng pandemya nito. Nariyan ng micro, small, medium enterprises, nariyan ng mga OFWs natin, nariyan din po yung 40s, drivers, so lahat po yan, tinignan ng ating Pangulo at tinanong pwedeng maging solusyon. At ang kagandahan po nito, lahat ng mga national government agencies natin ay minobilize niya. O inatasan niya na gumawa ng mga programa na nila ay makakabuti doon sa mga sectors na hardest hit ng ating
Okay, Dean, siguro ang isa rin po sa mga mahalagang binanggit natin every Sona, ito yung parang binibigyan niya, hindi man mando, pero nagbibigay na siya ng hint kung ano po yung mga kailangan mo natin batas. Di ba, Dean? Ang una na siguro po, ano yung mga masasabi natin doability na magasabi natin within 2 years, dahil ito na namin ang naiiwan ko sa ating Pangulong Duterte, ano sa tingin mo doon? Ang dami kasi, kung isa-isayin mo natin, yung Department of OFW, panunumbalik sa death penalty, national, yung parang CDC sa Amerika.
yung Department of
National Disease Prevention.
para magkaroon ng panibagong pandemic.
Baka raw ito, total napapanahon ito sa tingin mabata si President talaga yung National Disease Prevention Management Authority. Dumabol po yan within 2 years. Tapos